Hello, welcome to easyodds.com, where Jake Johns lives under the table.
Oh.
Alright, Jake?
Right.
It was a walk in.
That was a slide up.
Slide up.
I'm going to do a slide down at the end, so that's something to look forward to. What a bunch of fixtures we've got this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing it nice and early for our punters, so we're going to get even better prices.
Not just in the Premier League, but there's a couple of corkers outside the Premier League as well, isn't there?
There really is.
For a derby, etc.
Etc.
Okay, first game we're going to be covering is the first one on Man United versus Arsenal. Man United have been an absolute shambles so far this season. When are Arsenal going to, just bottle it completely? At some point they're going to, so is it going to be this game? Yeah,
it may well be, especially when you look at the stats. Man United have been made favourites here, best price to win here at 33 to 20. Of course, they put Swansea to the sword last time out, 3-1 win there at the Liberty Stadium. Red Devils have lost just one of the last 8 home games in all competitions, and also they've got an incredible hot streak in this fixture. United have lost just one of their last 10 matches against Arsenal in the Premier League, and now they're up against Jose Mourinho as well, a manager who has never lost a Premier League game against Arsenal. That's an absolutely incredible stat. He's got some kind of hoodoo over Arsene Wenger. But if you fancy the home win yet again in this fixture, then you can back Man United at a best price of 33 to 20 using our odds comparison service. However, Arsenal coming into this match on the back of a 16-match unbeaten run. They haven't lost a match since the opening game of the season, where they lost out in that thriller against Liverpool. So perhaps the odds do not appeal there, and you could be backing an Arsenal side yet to lose on their travels. They're a best price of 19 to 10 if you fancy them to pick up a win, just like they did in the FA Cup. Not too long ago, when, of course, Danny Welbeck was yet again a player to go back and haunt his former club.
When's Danny Welbeck back?
Who knows? Danny Welbeck
I haven't heard his name mentioned for a while.
He's still living off that goal against Leicester, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Good goal, though. Shade of odds on is interesting, isn't it? Arsenal, that's pretty strange. Away at United.
Yep, but they're on a 16-match unbeaten run. So.
Yeah.
And there are a few caveats to this, which I'll go into now. I'm going to be backing Arsenal draw no bet here.
Okay.
Best price of even money, so a pretty decent price there. Of course, draw no bet means that you get your full stake for a win and your stake returned if it's a draw. So that's a nice safety net there. I really like this selection, as Man United have picked up just 2 wins in the last 8 Premier League fixtures, and Arsenal are undefeated away from home. I think they'll be proved hard to beat on Saturday. Jose Mourinho has a big selection ahead of this game, also with Zlatan Ibrahimovic suspended. The big Swede scored twice in the win over Swansea, and without him it will be interesting to see how they line up in this game. Of course, they've got plenty of options with Rashford and Martial, but a very different option to Ibrahimovic, who's a real focal point to that attack as a spearhead, and neither of those two players really play in that style, so it will be interesting. Arsenal, of course, are without Hector Bellerin, but you can actually argue that's almost a positive, because he's a very attacking player, and they can play a more defensive-minded fullback to replace him, and that won't leave them so open for a counter-attack. They could play someone like Mustafi and move him across to a right back, which won't be a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Yes, Man United have got a ludicrous record in this fixture, and Mourinho seems to have the hoodoo over Arsene Wenger. But Man United are struggling for wins of late, and they're missing their main attacking threat when they're playing a side undefeated since the opening game of the season. So I think even money on Arsenal in the draw no bet market here is a decent bet.
That's even money. That seems like ridiculous. They're 19 to 10. Oh wait, hang on a sec. 19 to 10.
Yeah.
Oh right, I thought they were 19 to 20 for some reason. Don't know what I'm on about at all. Yeah, even money is a good price for that.
Yeah. So I've also pointed out, as I always do, a decent price difference in the anytime goal scorer market, and Wayne Rooney could well be the player to play up front in this game. And he's actually scored 14 times in his career against Arsenal, including his very first Premier League goal, which was an absolute screamer for Everton, which I'm sure that everyone remembers, not least David Seaman. I think they're still trying to save that shot.
What a goal. Absolute screamer that was. Ridiculous. Arguing with the ref and then just belts it in. Yeah, and he scored a fairly similar goal last time out in the Europa League against Fenerbahce. I don't know if you saw that goal, Jake. He scored an absolute screamer in Europe. So he's still capable of doing it. Obviously not quite as often
as he was in that Everton blue shirt. But he's available here at 3-1, far better price than the 2-1 pretty much across the board elsewhere. So if you do fancy a Wayne Rooney goal, make sure that you back it with easyodds.com and make sure that you get the best possible price.
Well, is he going to play? They said he was injured, but was he actually injured or not?
Yeah, you get a few of these things with the likes of Harry Kane and Rooney. I think managers have their say when it comes to international friendlies.
Yeah. Next up, we've got a London derby: Spurs versus West Ham. Spurs with their second pretty close derby within a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Who are the favourites of this one? I mean, West Ham have been on better form, but I'm assuming Tottenham are favourites at home.
Absolutely correct, Jake. As always.
What a guess.
Tottenham have failed to win a single game in the last 7 fixtures in all competitions, but the bookies make them massive favourites here. Short price, 11-20, so slightly better value than 1-2. Tottenham have lost just one of the last 14 matches at White Hart Lane against West Ham, though. So, and they do also have Harry Kane back from injury, who of course scored on his return at the Emirates Stadium. So you probably would argue that they're probably favourites to win this game. I think that they're very short at 11-20. West Ham, on the other hand, come into this match on a run of just 2 losses in the last 8 games. Their terrible start to the season seems to be a distant memory now, which is good for Hammers fans. And now they've on a run of 3 wins in 5, and they've actually only lost one of the last 4 at White Hart Lane against Tottenham. So a best price there of 23-4 may appeal.
Yeah, that seems like a decent price to me. But are you staying away from the full-time market?
I'm staying away from this one, and I've got to back my man Harry Kane. He's just a goal scoring machine, and he's the best price here of even money. I like this selection not least because England have released him early, so he can train in the way that he wants, needs to train after his injury.
Yeah.
Southgate gave that reason as to why he was being released, because he would be doing a far different training program to the England team in the lead up to that Spanish game, and probably wouldn't have played it against Spain anyway.
No.
So he's been released back to Tottenham. So he's getting nice and fit for the match against West Ham. Of course, he scored up against Arsenal. He's going to be needed here because Spurs haven't scored from open play in a long time. All 3 of their recent goals have come from the spot, including the Harry Kane strike against Arsenal. But with Kyle Walker and Danny Rose both proving this week for England that they're offering great balls from wide areas, he'll certainly get a few chances. And of course, Adrian in the West Ham goal has been blundersome this season. He's made quite a few errors.
What a word. Blundersome. I like that.
So, I do think Kane will probably strike, especially as he's got 3 goals in 2 home games against West Ham in his career. Plus, he scored 15 goals in his last 15 London derbies.
Oh, wow.
So he loves to play up against the London sides. And he's at even price here. And I've pointed it out in previous matches, obviously the price difference. And he's actually available at 3-4, pretty much across the board.
Okay.
Only one bookmaker is offering even money, and you'll have to go onto the anytime goal scorer market on easyodds.com to find out who that is and get the best possible price.
Evens. Not bad at all. I think he probably will score, to be honest. Might score a penalty as well.
Might just go penalty.
Tottenham, they're still the only unbeaten team in the Prem, aren't they?
Yep.
But they just haven't won in ages.
7 games.
They love a draw. Next up, Middlesbrough versus Chelsea. Seems like a pretty simple Chelsea win because they've been absolutely dominating so far this season.
Yeah.
Well, not the season, but recently, especially with the switch to 3 at the back.
Yeah.
I feel like if they get an injury, that might crumble a little bit because it's working so well at the moment that everyone seems to know their place. If they had to bring John Terry in or something,
they're one of a few teams that seem to really know their best 11. Which is really ideal. And even more ideal with the fact that they've got no real cup games to worry about, so they're a very stable side, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's paying off. After 11 games this season, Chelsea are 14 points better off than they were a year ago, which is absolutely incredible and proof that Jose Mourinho really did lose the dressing room last season. But can they continue their ascension against Middlesbrough on Sunday? Let's have a look. Chelsea are absolutely flying at the moment with their change of formation to the 3-4-3. As you say, under manager Antonio Conte, he's used that formation with Italy and Juventus in the past, and it's been successful with both those teams, and it's starting to pay dividends for Chelsea as well. The Blues have now won each of their last 5 Premier League games, all without conceding a goal.
Okay.
The only blip in that sequence of results was their 2-1 loss to West Ham in the EFL Cup. But who cares about the EFL Cup? If you fancy them to beat a Middlesbrough side with just 2 wins in 17 attempts against Chelsea in the Premier League, then you can get best odds of 8 to 15, which is obviously a very short price. Middlesbrough, on the other hand, come into this match with the 3rd worst home record in the Premier League. Karanka's side have only picked up 4 points this season at home, which is just not good enough. They have, however, lost just 1 of the last 5 games and picked up draws against both Arsenal and Man City in recent weeks, as well as beating Bournemouth at home, finally picking up their first home win of the season. So they are starting to turn their season around, and you can back them to win here at 6 to 1, which is a very big price for a home side in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's a massive price. Do you think Middlesbrough still might struggle to stay up?
They need to score more goals, don't they?
Yeah. They started off all right.
Last season in the Championship, defensively they were absolutely brilliant, weren't they? And they're winning a lot of games 1-0 and picking up points that way. And defensively they've been okay this season, but attacking wise they just haven't scored enough goals.
Yeah.
So they need to add more firepower to their squad, I think, in January, and then they should be okay. Yeah. Defensively they are very good, just like Burnley are actually. Burnley are a good defensive side. Hull are the ones that are the worries, I think, from the 3 teams that have.
I think they're down, aren't they?
Come up. Yeah, poor old Hull. So my tip here is going to be backing Chelsea to win to 0 at best price of 29 to 20. As I mentioned at the top of this piece for this game, Chelsea have kept 5 clean sheets in a row, and backing that to happen here at 29 to 20 seems a decent bet. Middlesbrough failed to score against Chelsea at home in each of their last 3 attempts. They scored just 5 goals in 5 home games this season and picked up just 4 points at the Riverside all season. So with Chelsea really adjusting well to this new system, and Middlesbrough losing their last 5 Premier League games against Chelsea whilst failing to score in each of those matches, you have to think that this will probably come in. 29 to 20 there for Chelsea to win to 0. I think is a decent bet.
That seems like quite a good price actually as well. 29 to 20. I'm
Yep.
taking that for sure.
Absolutely. And yet again, more differences in price in the anytime goal scorer market. Diego Costa, who's been involved in more Premier League goals this season than any other player. He's looking far more like his real self. Last season, of course, he was a big disappointment. And he's available here at even money, just like Harry Kane. And just like Harry Kane as well, most bookmakers are offering 3 to 4, so odds on. But you can squeeze out a little bit more for your buck and get an even price odds there for him. So another one who's likely to score, I would suggest.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. If you put an acca on that, those 3, all at even money,
Absolutely.
you can almost work it out with
Absolutely.
in your head. What would it be? 8 to 1 or something?
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. And it happened.
Thanks, Rachel Riley.
Yes. That's what people call me. That's my friends call me. Right, West Brom versus Burnley next. The most exciting game I've ever seen.
The most exciting game.
It's the most exciting game I've ever seen on paper.
It's the perfect night in, really, Jake. You go to work on a Monday and you're pretty sad about it, but then you get home, you watch Burnley versus West Brom, and then you watch Made in Chelsea, and then you feel great about life.
I'm just going to be so excited all day about West Brom versus Burnley. I'm going to just wake up on Monday and think, oh my god, thank God it's West Brom versus Burnley tonight, because I would just be annoyed that it was Monday.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed off it was Monday, but it's West Brom versus Burnley. You got that to look forward to.
It really tops off what is sure to be a great weekend of football.
Yeah.
It's the icing on the cake. But laugh as we will. I personally love Burnley. I've got a bit of time for West Brom just because they're incredible at staying up in this league. But this is a match between 9th and 11th. Can you believe that? And that's after 11 games of the Premier League season. Burnley are 9th.
I actually am in shock about that. I can't believe that.
So there you go. 2 teams that are doing pretty well in the Premier League. West Brom, of course, beat the Premier League champions Leicester in the last home game, as tipped by me in this video last week.
Good work.
And the bookies make the Baggies favourites to win again on Monday night against Sean Dyche's Clarets. So if you fancy them to beat a Burnley side with no win and just a single away goal so far from their away matches this season, you can get best odds of evens using our odds comparison service. Burnley, though, come into this match unbeaten in their last 3 Premier League games, including picking up their first away point of the season in a hard-fought 0-0 draw at Old Trafford, where Tom Heaton was absolutely fantastic in that game, up against his former side. And they have, however, failed to win any of their last 10 away league fixtures against West Brom. So they don't enjoy going to the Hawthorns. but you can get a best price on back in the away side here at a best price of 7-2, which is actually quite short when you think about it.
Yeah.
When you think that Middlesbrough is 6-1 to win at home.
Yeah.
7-2 is fairly short up against a West Brom side that seem to have the upper hand in this fixture. However, I'm going to stay away from the full-time result, and I'm going to be backing over 2.5 goals. I think they've really underestimated these two teams, the bookies. Best price here of 13-8, which I think is a really good price.
It's going to be a stormer.
Absolutely.
Goalfest.
So that's like over 2.5 goals, for those of you that don't know, is to back this game to have 3 or more goals scored in it. And despite Burnley struggling to score away from home this season, they can bring upon the pace and power of Andre Gray for this game after his ridiculous suspension, where he said some awful things on Twitter, which we won't go into.
Absolutely not.
But he's back now, and he's a changed man. So, well done, Andre. Also, Sam Vokes and Ashley Barnes, their other strikers, of course, scored in their win over Crystal Palace. West Brom have kept just 1 clean sheet in their last 9 games at the Hawthorn, so Sean Dyche will be feeling confident that his Burnley side can probably get on the score sheet here. And on the plus side for the home side, West Brom, they're playing a Burnley team that have conceded 9 goals in their 4 Premier League away games this season and failed to score in only 3 of the last 12 matches in all competitions. So you have to suggest there that both teams are going to be scoring goals here. So I think that whilst on paper this may seem a drab encounter, which is probably what you were thinking that it would be, and these two sides are the two sides that play the most long balls in the Premier League statistically. So there may well be some long balls into the area, but there's nothing wrong with that when you've got the likes of Sam Vokes and Rondon and all the other beasts that these two teams have. So over 2.5 goals in the over-under market at best price of 13-8, I think will be a surprise win for us this Monday night.
It's going to be a cracker. Actually, I'm going to be excited for it now. I want to see some goals. Are there any time differences?
Well, it's your man, Jake. I've actually found out.
I can see.
Your man.
My man.
Jeff Hendrick, who of course...
Formerly of Derby County.
Did very, very well for Derby and got a big money move to Burnley this summer. And he scored an absolute screamer in the Euros for Ireland. So he's capable of scoring goals, as Jake well knows. He's a worst price here of 9-2. But you can escalate that up all the way up to 17-2 using our odds comparison service.
Massive.
And up against a West Brom team that, as I say, struggled to keep clean sheets at home. He could well be the player to bang one in from 25 yards. And 17-2 is a really big price there.
17-2 is absolutely massive. Okay, so let's quickly run through your tips.
Absolutely. Let's start with Man United v Arsenal. I've gone for Arsenal a draw no bet at a best price of even money.
Very good price. And Arsenal aren't odds on to win the game. It's 19-10 is not odds on. But I thought it said 19-20. Middlesbrough versus Chelsea.
Is not the next game.
Okay. No, I know.
Next game is
Tottenham versus West Ham.
And we're sticking with the even price picks here. I'm a back in the returning from injury Harry Kane to get on the score sheet, probably from the penalty spot at even money.
Middlesbrough versus Chelsea. That is the next game, isn't it?
That is the next game. And we're backing Chelsea to win 2-0 yet again at 29-20.
West Brom versus Burnley. Goalfest.
Goalfest at the Hawthorns on a Monday night. What more can you ask for? Over 2.5 goals, 13-8.
Okay, so there you have it.
Thanks very much for watching, everyone. This has been Ross Casey and Jake Johns. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel at easyodds.com on YouTube, where we will be offering weekly tips from myself in the Premier League and international football, as well as the weekly big race anti-post tip from Jake Johns himself, which will be up tomorrow, which will be
Betfair Chase.
The Betfair Chase.
Grade 1.
For all you horse racing fans, that's coming your way tomorrow. So thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to press that subscribe button. I've been Ross Casey, and sliding down the chair is Jake Johns.